So welcome back to Real Auto Reports. Here today we have the real video, the real review on this 2014 BMW 435i xDrive. So this is the new 4 Series Coupe, and well, we gave you the first impressions, but now we want to give you more detail on this vehicle after living with it for a week or so and putting some good miles on it, both highway and city, taking it to Costco, doing all the things that people do in their normal daily lives. So let's jump in the driver's seat here at Real Auto Ranch and get going and take this baby out for a little drive. Hi, so welcome back to Real Auto Reports inside the 2014 BMW 435i xDrive. So yes, this is the all-new 4 Series, meaning that it is the coupe. We are used to there being a 3 Series coupe, but no longer. Now we have the 4 Series, and that's how they're kind of changing a lot of the model lines. You'll notice that there's a 2 Series now instead of the 1 Series, and so on and so forth. And I think that it's not a bad change, and it is great to see this coupe finally in the same skin that we saw the 2013 BMW 335i xDrive last year. Actually in the same color, the silver, and it's on our YouTube channel. So now we are seeing finally the design language pull through the BMW brand, which is excellent, because this body on this 4 Series coupe, and it's going to take a little bit to get used to saying that, right? The body on this 4 Series coupe is very nice. We like it very much because it is just a more fluid version of the 4-door, if you will. You've got the elongated doors, you have this coupe roofline, excellent window design. You'll notice that it's basically got that 1/3, 2/3 proportioning that gives you this lovely kind of sleek greenhouse. And I have to say, I love the eyebrows over the lights. I like the daytime running lights, the rings around the headlights that are just give this car aggressive personality even during the daytime. You don't have to wait till nighttime to hear this thing, you know, or see this thing, I should say, be really cool. So I love the way these BMWs look when they're driving down the road. They've put a lot of detail into this, and so that's something right off the bat with the new 4 Series. It's nice to see the design language continue to evolve in BMW, and there's a ton. If you go back and you look at our real first impressions, we discussed quite a bit in our walk around the body of this car and what that looks like, and why it's interesting, and why, I mean, from my perspective, why I think cars are getting better now that they've figured out drag coefficients, they've figured out fuel economy to some degree, and they're continuing to work on those things. So now we're in a position where we can actually have some cool looking cars again with really neat curves down the body, insets, sculpting that make these cars stand apart from each other again, instead of the kind of curved and smooth look they all had in the 90s and into the 2000s. So I really think we are doing much better in the design department on these cars over the last decade. BMW continues to evolve their look. You can see that the inside of this car is going to be very similar to the 335i that we had. We like this, you know, we like this look, we like this layout, but one thing that we want to point out inside this car is that there are things that you're going to have to read the manual to figure out. You know, as we drive along here, when we did our first impressions, there are things that always take us a few minutes, and keep in mind that we're familiar with these cars because we do interact with a number of them, and we go to the presentations and things like that. So there's a lot about these cars that we kind of know where to look. But if you're a first-time buyer, or you've had an older BMW and you're getting into a newer one after, you know, 6 or 7 years, or even if you're just, you know, upgrading to a new model with new features, you're definitely going to want to spend some time at the dealer or with the manual, you know, RTFM, and read the manual and figure out what all the car does. Because when you sit in this car, and keep in mind this has the M Sport package, so we do have the M wheel, the M seats, the door sills with the M logos on it, the M rims, so the 19-inch wheels, and It's excellent, looks fantastic. You get this blue trim through the car, but what you might not know when you add that and then the technology package and all of that is that you have a heated steering wheel, and it is a fully leather wrapped steering wheel, but the button is down here to the left of the column, and it is a push button. And so you can't see it when you're sitting in the car. You would have to know where it is. Now, if you're trying to get to it on a regular basis, super easy to press. It heats up the wheel, no muss, no fuss. But if you didn't know it was there, it might you might be like, okay, where I don't have a heated steering wheel, because you may never decide to look that far down. The other thing is that this does have a tilt and telescopic wheel. It is manual, not power in this. You do have a 2-function memory seats, but again, the memory seats on this vehicle are going to be to the left of the driver's thigh here on the seat bottom itself. And you do have, with the M Sport seats, some pretty cool things like the adjustable bolsters. And those are going to be really cool for people to get more comfort out of these sports seats. So you can let them out wider, or you can narrow them in to hug you tighter. So all of those things are excellent in this car, but again, take some getting used to. But this car is full of features. You have your entertainment system, and I'm just going to slide that shut so we don't get too much glare in the sunny day finally in Colorado, which we love. It's a great day to have the sunroof open, and notice how this is a pretty solid, well-built shade, so it does keep the light out. Some other features we want to point out in this vehicle are the controls for the entertainment system. Of course, you have your dial, but just like on the new Audi A3 that we looked at, which is their new entry-level compact sedan, BMW has some leading technology as well with the handwriting recognition. So you can go to the navigation system and write on the top of this dial on the twist for the entertainment system, and the all the settings, where the vehicle settings, navigation, everything you can think of is pretty much controlled by that heads-up display over there. And what we like about it is that you can just write out the address, and I had my friends try it too, just to see if it was easy to use, and it is super easy to use. Now, we're getting onto the freeway here, and we do have the 3-liter twin-turbo powered 300 horsepower V6 engine in this vehicle, and when you put your foot down, it really moves, even when people cut you off in front of you. This motor is fantastic in this BMW, and we really like the way it drives. It has an 8-speed automatic transmission with this twin-turbo powered 6-cylinder. Excellent motor, same motor we saw in the 335i that we tested last year. Impeccable, pushes you back in your seat, and will get, with the xDrive and the all-wheel drive, is super stuck to the road. I mean, this vehicle feels like it's on rails. We do have the M Sport wheels, as I said, with the sport tires, but you can go around corners in this car and feel very confident with the traction control, the anti-skid control, and all of those features that you'll find in this BMW. It is a car that will propel you 0 to 60 in a touch under 5 seconds, according to most of the independent tests. We've been seeing right about 4.7 with the all-wheel drive, and ironically, it looks to us, but from reading around the reports, that the rear-wheel drive version, so the non-xDrive, is actually a tad bit slower. Now, that could be due to putting power to the road, or who knows, changes in the gearing ratio. We're not sure on that. That is a bit better question for BMW. But it is fantastic out on the road, and with the M Sport package, it has the extra aerodynamics around it, if you will, the ground effects kit, and so it looks sharp, and you're still not quite paying as much as you would for the M4 when it comes available. So you do have a high horsepower car that is very quick and not bad on fuel either. We're seeing, well, the EPA estimates this car at 20 miles per gallon in the city, 30 out on the highway, and that's not too bad, right? That's livable. And then if we were to scroll through the information system here, we've been driving this car around for a couple hundred miles here, and let's see, we're at 22.3 miles per gallon on average with our in-town and out-of-town driving, and that's right on top of what the EPA would say. You know, they might give us a few more miles per gallon combined in there, but real world driving, you know, depending on how much you put your foot down the throat of the fuel injection and into that twin turbo engine, you're going to see different fuel economy. But it has a fantastic 7,000 RPM red line in this vehicle. You have the sport mode, so you have the Drive S mode, and then you also have the manual shift mode with the paddle shifters. Now, like I said in the real first impressions, you know, the BMW has always caused me a little bit of pause, because you have to press forward to downshift and pull back to upshift, and that's just something that you're going to want to keep in mind as you are you know, interacting with these cars. But if you're a BMW fan, you're going to be very used to this already, and it's not going to cause you not even going to cause you to skip a beat with this car. There's a couple things though with this BMW 4 Series that, well, are just slightly interesting to me, and it comes a lot of it comes around the seating position in this car. So the seating position is interesting to me in that I like to sit low because I'm tall, and you can see there's not a ton of headroom in this coupe. With my height, I'm about 6 foot, longer in the leg, and I like to sit lower in the car because I don't mind, you know, the feeling like I'm sitting on the ground, and I really don't want to bump my head on the roof or feel like I'm way up here somewhere. The thing is, though, is that the position of the steering column here for me, and I've gotten used to it over the last, you know, week of driving the car, the steering column here is a little more vertical, or a little more angled, if you will, on the diagonal than I would have anticipated. It does move up and down, but you can see that the pitch here, or the angle, doesn't really change. It is, it's interesting because I would kind of like it to tilt more flat in front of me based on, you know, wanting to drive more in this sports car seating position in these M seats. Now, the M seats are fantastic. They let you move in a multitude of directions. You have multi-stage lumbar. You have, as I mentioned, the adjustable bolsters. You have a leg extension here manually under your thighs. And that's on both front seats, so that's excellent. But the thing is, with the way that the wheel is positioned for me, where I want it so that I've got the kind of reach and grab for driving that I want, I actually have the top of the wheel kind of covering the top of the gauges because of being able to reach comfortably and drive comfortably in this kind of sports car position. However, it's not too much of a big deal because you can see all the information displays down here with the trip computer and your miles per gallon and all that. And you have the heads-up display on the windshield, so you have your speed and any vehicle warnings that you might need. And remember that that heads-up display is adjustable in dimming and in position and in angle tilt. You can actually rotate it and kind of curve it along with the hood of the car if you really felt inclined. So the bottom line with these BMW coupes is that they're expensive. I mean, that's the biggest drawback to these coupes, is that this is a $64,000+ car as tested, and that's MSRP. So, you know, I doubt you're going to see a ton of discounts from BMW, but given the right time of year and the right leasing program and credit and all that, you might get one a little cheaper than the MSRP. However, that being said, one of the things you have to keep in mind is that you're buying status with these cars. You're buying a brand that has the ultimate driving machine tagline and lineage. They are fantastically built. The interiors are nice and solid. You don't hear a lot of stuff rattling around in this car. Once you get used to them, the ergonomics are quite good. They have great features like the auto start technology, which you've probably been seeing. When I stop at a light, it hits the ready mark. When you let off the brake, it restarts quickly and lets you get going. There is a tad bit of delay, but if you are, you know, really paying attention, you lift off the brake soon enough, and the light goes green, you're going to have no lag. Although that little pause that it's forcing you to do when it restarts, even though it's very minor, actually could be a good thing, for especially in areas where they have a lot of red light runners. It could give you just that little bit of cushion before somebody blows the light. The other thing with this car is that, you know, there's so much tech in it that you really do have to learn the car. It's not going to be something that is super easy to jump in and find everything, just because of the nature of how much stuff is included, navigation and all the vehicle settings and the sport modes. I mean, we have the sport and eco and comfort modes all right here. They have Eco Pro. Remember, these cars have efficient dynamic systems, which uses an extra battery to help take regenerative braking and turn it into reserve power to help fuel economy. And it'll tell you all of that information as you're driving around. It also has cool features like auto trip, where it'll reset your trip on the trip screen, you know, with the split display every time you're driving, so that you know exactly how well you did on each trip you did. And then you have your A and B trip in addition to that. So those are all really cool features and stuff that I think we just don't take into account with these cars. It also has a really good trunk for a coupe, and the entry and exit out of the back seat is not terrible, although it does take a little bit of time because you have to pull. There's this lever right over your shoulder here. You pull that, and the seat on the passenger side does not automatically slide forward because it's power. It actually has a little switch right on the shoulder part of the seat that you can push and move the seat electrically forward. Now, I would like a speed option for that. I would like it to do it automatically. You actually do have to hold that button, it seems, and then you have to hold it back so that your passenger can get back in, because, you know, that it doesn't go back automatically. So, you know, there are some improvements there that I think they could work with and try to get so that some of those things are easier. But all in all, this is a pretty cool car, well designed. And I think I'm a bit of a fan of BMWs, so if there's some negatives in this car that I haven't mentioned, make sure you leave a comment and let us know, because I think the ride and performance balance in this car is great. Soaks up bumps. It's not going to be a super cushy ride, but it's going to be a nice flat ride, which you would expect out of a high-performance coupe such as this. We'll have the real wrap-up coming up next, and I hope you come back for more reviews and well, musings in the future that we have. Remember, we also have some real updates on our Dodge Charger and a lot of other things coming down the road. So the real wrap-up's coming up next. So that's the real video, the real review on the 2014 BMW 435i xDrive. This 4 Series, well, how can you not love them? Well, I'm sure there are people out there that aren't BMW fans, but for me, I am definitely a BMW fan, along with a lot of the other German cars. But these BMWs really are the ultimate driving machine. They have great road characteristics. They have a nice suspension package, both in the base model and in these upper-end 435 packages. If you go down to a 428, you're going to still love the car, because now they're all twin turbos, but the difference is you have twin turbo powered 6-cylinder in this vehicle with 300 horsepower, and in the 428 you have the 4-cylinder twin turbo, which will be about 240 horsepower. They are great vehicles and we really like the way they drive, but you're going to pay for that kind of quality and the brand persona of the ultimate driving machine. This vehicle is tested, tops out a little bit over $64,000, and you can't get into one unless you're willing to plunk down $48,000 at a base price. It is not a cheap way of motoring, but nothing in the luxury or status category is, and it's definitely worth the money if you love a driving car. I love the way it handles. The interior's great. The things that are still there that will always be there that are BMW is that it's complicated to use the user interface. The whole entertainment system is a little complicated. The seats are a little bit flat on the bottom cushions for a lot of people, so they feel harder or stiffer than other vehicles. And, well, they typically have a lot of maintenance required if you're hard on them. But overall, I think with the LED headlights and all the technology in the tech package with adaptive cruise and heated seats, you're going to find a lot of love in this vehicle. But there's some options for $64,000 I wish I wouldn't have to live without, like cooled front seats, because, well, it's hot in there on black leather in the summer, and we're just coming out of the cooler months, so we have our eye on that summer prize. Well, that's the real video, the real review. I'm Jonathan McGrew, right here from Real Auto Ranch. Make sure you join us again for more reviews, and we'll see you down the road.